Pick one, Sakura. Cup 3 or Cup 7.
They look exactly the same, Professor. Is this some kind of test?
Everything in this room is a test. But no, it's simple. One is butter, one is margarine. And the fact that you're hesitating tells us something important.
Fine. I'll say Cup 3 is butter. It looks slightly more yellow.
Good instinct, wrong answer. Cup 3 is margarine. But don't feel bad. That confusion is at the heart of a fascinating economic shift happening in Japan right now.
Economic shift? Over butter?
Over everything connected to dairy. Japan's food prices have been climbing steadily for years. To give you a sense of scale, pudding, one of the country's most beloved everyday desserts, saw its price jump over 45% between 2020 and 2024. Eggs and milk costs hit the industry hard.
45%? For pudding?
For pudding. And butter sits at the very center of that storm. Here's a detail that surprises most people. When you process raw milk, only about 4% becomes butter. The rest, over 90%, turns into skim milk powder, which sells for far less.
4%? That's almost nothing.
Which means butter is structurally expensive to produce. When feed costs rise, when energy bills climb, butter absorbs all of it with nowhere to pass it except to the consumer.
So what do consumers do? Just stop buying it?
Many of them, yes. A nationwide survey of over 33,000 people found that 1 in 3 Japanese consumers switched to cheaper alternatives because of inflation. And the single most common substitution, number 1 on the list, was butter to margarine.
Number 1? Above meat? Above rice brands?
Above everything. Think about why. Butter and margarine sit on the same shelf, in the same shape of container. They spread identically on toast. The switching cost is essentially zero.
Actually, a friend of mine did exactly that in college. Switched to margarine and didn't even tell her roommates. Nobody noticed for weeks.
That's the quiet revolution. And the data shows it isn't uniform across demographics. Families with young children lean heavily into margarine. They can't easily reduce the volume of food they prepare. Meanwhile, households earning above 10 million yen barely register the price change.
So it's literally a map of income inequality. In spreadable form.
I may borrow that line for my next lecture. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. While everyday butter consumption is declining, there's a parallel boom happening in premium butter confectionery.
Wait, like fancy butter cookies?
Far more interesting than cookies. Have you encountered bata no itoko?
Oh, the waffle thing? I've actually had that at Haneda Airport. It was incredible.
So you know it. The brilliant part is the concept behind it. Remember that skim milk, the 96% byproduct of butter production that nobody particularly wants? They made it the star ingredient. Waffle shell, melting buttercream inside, roughly 1,000 yen per box. About 20 stores across Japan now, and their complex in Nasu attracts 500,000 visitors a year.
They turned the waste into the product. That's actually genius.
Sustainability through premium branding. The whole model ensures dairy farmers aren't squeezed on price. And they're not alone. In Hokkaido, a company called Northmart developed Mori no Kigi Bata Scotchi, a 5mm thick chewable candy made with fermented butter from Yotsuba Dairy. 40,000 bags sold per flavor. They're building a new factory to expand production 13-fold, with exports to Asia and the US on the horizon.
13-fold? Professor, that's not a trend. That's an industry being born.
And the big players smell opportunity too. Carby launched a butter-flavored snack called Moon Potato that beat its sales plan by over 20%. Doshisha created a butter tart brand for department stores. The word butter on a Japanese package has become a signal. Authenticity, craft, premium.
So butter is losing the breakfast table, but winning the gift shop.
That's exactly right. And underneath it, there's a broader cultural shift. Simple crepes made with just butter and sugar are outselling elaborate photogenic creations. The Instagram-era excess is fading. Consumers want something that feels genuine.
The more artificial everything gets, the more people reach for the real thing. I actually get that. Even I've been choosing simpler desserts lately.
Meanwhile, margarine is quietly reinventing itself. The old trans fat stigma? Largely resolved. Modern formulations have drastically reduced trans fat content, and the industry is pivoting toward plant-based positioning. And Japanese regulators recently confirmed that the existing labeling framework, an 80% fat threshold separating margarine from fat spread, will remain intact.
So margarine gets to keep its own identity instead of forever being not butter.
Precisely. Clear categories protect consumers and give margarine a defined lane in the market. Now, I want to hear you pull this together from a business perspective.
Okay, Japan's butter versus margarine story isn't really a competition. It's a bifurcation. On one track, daily consumption is drifting toward margarine, practical, affordable, good enough. On the other track, a premium butter economy is emerging, fueled by tourism, gifting, e-commerce, and sustainability narratives. Both tracks are growing simultaneously.
Well said. And for anyone looking at the Japanese market from the outside, this duality is critical to understand. You cannot compete on price alone. The margarine players own that space. And you cannot slap premium on a label without a genuine story behind it. Japanese consumers see through hollow branding immediately.
The butter has to mean something.
It always has. You know, margarine was originally invented in France back in 1869. A chemist created it for Napoleon III as a military butter substitute. Even then, the original was never truly replaceable. It just found a different role.
1869? That rivalry is older than most countries.
And yet, here we are, in this evaluation room, still unable to tell them apart at a glance. Maybe that's the point. What separates them was never really about taste. It's about what each one represents in the mind of the person choosing.
Context over content.
Now you sound like a professor.
Don't worry, Professor. I'll leave that job to you.
You've been listening to Narrative Japan. Until next time, stay curious and keep listening for the whispers beneath Japan's economy.